morning, Silver and Black Nation, and welcome to the Silver and Black Lair. I'm your host, the Bat Fry, Kenny Frie. It's Triple F Friday, baby. French Fry Friday. Hope everybody's doing well. I'm doing better. If you were watching me Wednesday, I had to hop off a little early, but here I am Friday. So rock and roll, right? So we'll kick the show off. Talking, of course, Raiders are coming off the bye week. Not technically out of the playoffs, but we're sitting at 13 out of 16. Got a lot of work to do. I mean, it helps that the Steelers lost last night to the Patriots. So that does help a little bit. It would have helped even more if we were able to beat the Steelers earlier in the season, but that's one of those games where we had quite a few questionable calls and just some things didn't go our way. So we'll kick it off with Raiders versus Vikings. Coming up, Vikings sitting at 6-6, losers of the last two. They won 5 in a row. Dobbs comes in for a quarterback after gets hurt. I can't think of his name right now. After an injury to their starting quarterback, Dobbs comes in to take over, and Kirk Cousins. So after Kirk Cousins gets hurt, Dobbs comes in to take over for the Vikings takes over the Vikings offense. Cousins, I guess, tore his Achilles or something like that, and they won 5 in a row. He's started, I think, the last 4 or 5 games, 4 games, last 4 games. So I guess they're 2-2 in his starts. He turns the ball over a little bit, so that's a good thing for the Raiders. So we'll go ahead and do our comparisons, take a look how we stack up position to position, kind of. So looking at starting quarterbacks, of course, Aiden O'Connell sitting 113 completions out of 178 attempts. 1,194 yards passing, 4 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. That's a rating of 76.4. And that's in 6 games, 5 starts, 6 games. Dobbs out of 4 games, 85 completions, 128 attempts, 832 yards passes, 832 yards passing, 5 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions with a rating of 81.3. He also runs a little bit. 25 rushes for 142 yards, 3 touchdowns. So there's that threat there, which isn't good for us. Looking at the running back position, we have Josh Jacobs, 220 carries for 771 yards, 3.5 yards per carry, 6 touchdowns. He also has 35 catches for 280 yards. The top Vikings running back, we're looking at Alex Madison. Madison. I don't know if it's Madison or Madison. That's hard to say. I don't know. 158 carries for 594 yards, 3.8 yards per carry, and no touchdowns. He's had some pretty good games throughout the season, and he also had quite a few where they weren't so good. So his stats are probably fairly comparable to the Josh Jacobs if you break it down. You look at the yards per carry, not that far off. Josh Jacobs does have, 62 more carries than what Alex has. So, back to the quarterback position, Aiden O'Connell, still a rookie, still learning. I thought his last game he played very well against the Chiefs. He didn't play well enough to win, obviously. He started off well. He protected the ball. But, again, it felt like they're a little bit conservative with him. Hopefully they open it up some. Josh Dobbs, I haven't really seen him play that much. I do know that he was I think it was in a trade. I think that the Vikings got him, via trade or something like that. I think was he the one that was down in Arizona? I think I could be wrong. there's a good chance that I am wrong. And so, he's passed well at times, like I said. He hasn't had Justin Jefferson, but he will have him this week. And he turns the ball over, 5 interceptions in 4 games, and fumbles the ball a bit. He doesn't lose all of his fumbles, but he does fumble it. Has a bit of the slippery fingers there. So he does turn the ball over. Which so does our quarterback. So it is what it is. Looking at the wide receiver rooms, Devontae Adams, 69 catches, 814 yards, 4 touchdowns. Jacoby Myers, 52 catches, 591 yards, and 6 touchdowns. Michael Mayer, tight end, 22 catches, 251 yards, 1 touchdown. Hunter Renfrow, 22 catches, 209 yards, 0 touchdowns. Looking at the Minnesota's wide receivers, TJ Hawkinson, tight end, is their leading receiver, 80 catches, 786 yards, 5 touchdowns. Jordan Addison, a rookie, playing fantastic this year for him. 54 catches, 686 yards, 7 touchdowns. Justin Jefferson, like I said, played only a couple games so far. The season's been out for a while. This will be his first game back. 36 catches, 571 yards receiving, and 3 touchdowns. And then KJ Osborne, 36 catches, 418 yards receiving, and 2 touchdowns. So you compare the wide receiver rooms; they are fairly close, in my opinion. The addition of Justin Jefferson back, though, that's going to be tough to figure out. Because Addison has been playing great, and TJ Hawkinson is just a beast. So, in order to slow this passing game down, which I think they're probably going to go pass heavy, if you ask me. Especially with the Raiders jumbling around their secondary and stuff with the release of Marcus Peters and Ja'Cory Bennett being a rookie, not really playing up to snuff quite yet. Still it's a learning curve for a rookie. I get it. But Nate Hobbs has been playing well. But that whole secondary, Amik Robertson, they're going to have their hands full. You're going to need big games out of our tight end, Michael Mayer, Devontae Adams. He's going to have to. He started off like a ball of fire 2 weeks ago against the Chiefs. 5 catches, 73 yards. I think it was in the first quarter or the first half, whatever it was. Second half, he got 0. So it didn't matter if it was the first quarter or first half. Second half, he was just non-existent. Now, whether the Chiefs took him out of the equation or the Raiders' game plan just didn't include one of the best wide receivers in the league, I don't know. So, but both wide receiver rooms, very, very comparable. That whole the glaring mismatch though right now looks like the tight end, TJ Hawkinson. But the Raiders are going to have their hands full covering Jefferson and Addison and even KJ Osborne. So it's going to be, it could be a long day for our secondary. We have a comment here. Jump in, Joe Sullivan from the Sully Squad saying, "Good morning, Ken. This is a must-lose game for the Raiders. Need to get that good draft position. Need a quarterback." So I don't know. I don't know if they really need a quarterback. We don't know what we have in Aiden O'Connell yet. I don't think he's going to be like a franchise quarterback, but if he's a good enough quarterback, like Derek Carr, I don't know if you'd ever call him a franchise quarterback. For the Raiders, he was a franchise quarterback. But would he be a franchise quarterback for the New Orleans Saints? And that does not look that way. He hasn't turned the ball over as much as he used to with the Raiders, but he's not really pushing the ball downfield either, like he did with the Raiders. So I don't know if they necessarily need a new quarterback. They have too many different glaring holes where if the Raiders for some reason did shit the bed the last 5 weeks, I think we have left. If the Raiders did shit the bed for some reason and did get a really good draft pick, I wouldn't be upset if they didn't take a quarterback. I think offensive line I think is their biggest hole, and go from there. Defensive line, defensive backfield, but offensive line that's the, in my opinion, easily the biggest hole right now. You can check Joe out on multiple shows here. The Soli Squad on Mondays. I guess he'll be on the NFC East War Room once in a while. He'll be on there when the guys get together and talk NFC East. Cowboys, Commanders, Eagles, and Giants. So make sure you check Soli out, especially the Soli Squad. And we have Eileen checking in. Hey, Eileen, it's Friday. Friday in the house. We had a hump day, and it was kind of cut short, but we got Friday. We got the Triple F, French Fry Friday, baby. Thanks for checking the show out, Eileen. I appreciate it. There he is, the showstopper, the heartbreak kid himself, Cowboy Dave Yarnell. What's up, Dave? You can check Dave out and myself. We'll be going live tomorrow night, 10 p.m. with the Atomic Drop podcast. I'll be working tonight, so we will not be going live tonight. Need to make that dollar bills. It's getting to pinch time here with Christmas. It's like it's constricting around us right now. Christmas. I'm not a big fan of Christmas. Yeah, I shouldn't say this. I like Christmas. I like, the kids getting their toys and, and stuff like that and seeing the joy on their face. I like the cookies and stuff like that. And, but I don't like shopping. I hate shopping. There's stress to it. And it's just a whole bunch of different ways around. I'm not a fan of it. I like the food. I like it when everybody's happy, but getting to that point, not a fan of. So back to the wide receiver room. Like I said, all right, I'm going to rewind it real quick. Back to the quarterbacks. I think I'd give the Raiders a slight advantage over Aiden O'Connell over Dobbs, just because it seems like Dobbs turns the ball over a little bit more than what O'Connell does. I think O'Connell's kind of reeling his turnovers in the last couple games, whereas Dobbs has been getting much worse. His last game out, throwing 4 interceptions to the Chicago Bears. So, if Dobbs cleans that up, he moves well in the pocket. He runs the ball, when under duress, he can move. So he's no scrub. It just, I feel like right now, I think AOC is playing much better than what Dobbs is. And looking at the running back, I'd give the advantage to the Raiders there as well. And then looking at the wide receivers, I'd give the advantage to the Vikings. So moving on to defense, our top defenders, Robert Spillane, 105 tackles, 2.5 sacks, 3 interceptions. Divine Diablo, one of the best names in the league, Divine Diablo, 70 tackles, 1 sack. Max Crosby, 66 tackles, 11.5 sacks. Trayvon Merrick, 68 tackles, 2 sacks, 2 interceptions. Nate Hobbs, 59 tackles, 1 sack and 1 interception. And Amik Robertson, big game Robertson, 27 tackles, 1 sack, and 2 interceptions. Looking at a couple of the Vikings defenders, Cameron Bynum, 99 tackles, 0.5 sack, 2 interceptions. I think he's a safety. Jordan Hicks, 87 tackles, 1 sack, 1 interception. Here's the big one, Daniil Hunter, 60 tackles, 13.5 sacks. I believe he's leading the league right now in sacks. And then Byron Murphy, 46 tackles and 3 interceptions. So Daniil Hunter, he's the big one here. I'd give the edge to the Vikings defense. There is a chance that Max Crosby doesn't play. Well, I don't know what's going on with Max Crosby. The last time the Raiders played, he was actually doubtful to play, and he was the first player since 2020 to play after being listed doubtful, and first player all season. So 2020 obviously is the first player all season, and he was in the hospital like 2 days before the game. He had an infection in his knee and the fluid in his knee and stuff. So it was some real nasty stuff, and they weren't going to let him play, but he was able to hit some benchmarks and where they felt okay letting him play. So you figure with that bye week coming up, he didn't play great. He didn't play terrible either. He still had a sack, only 1 tackle. I think that's his lowest tackle output for the season. And So you figure with the bye week, get healthy. Well, he hasn't practiced, the whole bye week. Hasn't practiced at all this week yet. So I think as of right now, he's listed as questionable when I was looking on ESPN. But I wouldn't be surprised if he's listed as doubtful today or tomorrow, and we'll go from there. I don't know. I'd be shocked if he didn't play, but I wouldn't be surprised if – I'd be shocked if he didn't play, but I wouldn't be surprised if he did play. So, yeah, so he's a guy – he's a gamer. He's the guy that he doesn't come off the field. He was, up until the last game, he was playing, I think, 98% of the defensive snaps, which is, far and away, the highest. I think the next closest guy was in the low 80s. So – it's Max Crosby is an impressive dude. He's our heartbeat of our defense. So him not there or whatever, him being at 50% or whatever percentage you might rate his health, hurts our defense. It really does. We have nobody else that can rush the passer. We got a little bit of push up the middle, but it's not enough to really do much. And with Josh Dobbs and his mobility, you really need you need Max Crosby there. Rushing them and putting that pressure on. Cowboy Dave with the comment here says, Raiders better look out. Double J is back for the purple team. I still feel the Raiders win the game. Yeah, I'll get to my prediction a little bit later. But, yeah, Justin Jefferson really swings the tilt on the offensive side. You take him out, and, the Vikings are a tight end and a rookie wide receiver. That's all they are. KJ Osborne having a pretty decent year as well, but not a whole lot to worry about. Jordan Addison's having a really, really good year, as well as TJ Hawkinson. But you throw Justin Jefferson into that, and it just like, what are you gonna do? You just kind of pick your poison and go with it. We don't have a good enough secondary where you feel overly comfortable letting somebody cover him one-on-one or any of those wide receivers, to be honest with you, one-on-one. But that's what's going to happen. The Raiders are a team that plays a lot of man-to-man. So, I mean, if Marcus Peters was here, he'd be given a 15-yard cushion, probably 20-yard cushion to Justin Jefferson and, missing tackles. So hopefully the Raiders play up a little bit tighter, make them work, make them fight off the line of scrimmage and go from there. But it's with Justin Jefferson back, it's going to be, it just makes a tough game even harder. Good morning, Stacy. How you doing? Happy Friday. You can check Stacy out 11 a.m. Sunday mornings, the Big Blue Power Hour. Talking New York Giants football. Tough season for the G-men this year, but it's just one of those things. So that's the thing about sports. It just expectations. Everybody starts off 0-0. You have expectations. I think we can do something this year, and then when it shits the bed, it shits the bed. It's like, oh. Then you go, next year we're going to compete. So it's tough. And, I've been going through this for so long that I'm sick of saying next year. Dave says the purple team is a 3-point favorite. They are the Vikings. Do you not like the Vikings? You keep calling them the purple team. I'm not surprised that they're 3-point favorites. Like I just went over, I feel like their offense is probably a little bit better than what the Raiders offense is. Even though I think Aiden O'Connell's playing better than Dobbs, I believe Josh Jacobs is a better running back than Madison, whatever you want to call his last name. I don't know. But wide receiver wise, I think it's just, the way it looks right now, they're pretty well stacked right there. You will always call them the purple team. All right. Is there any reason behind that? Dave, is there like you don't like purple maybe, or I don't know. All right. So I'm going to go over my keys to victory. What I think that the Raiders should do that will help them win. So Minnesota, one of the things that they do, one of the things that Minnesota does well is they blitz a lot. Their defensive coordinator, whose name escapes me right now. But he blitzes a lot. A very good defensive coordinator. And that's why Danielle Hunter has 13 and a half sacks right now. It's pressure, pressure, pressure. And the one thing the Raiders do not do well is block. We do have a very, very good tackle in Colton Miller, but he's been banged up. He missed a couple games. He was back, I think, for the Chiefs game. But he's another guy that has not been participating in practices. Do expect him to play, though. But if he doesn't, that's a whole jumble up, mess again with Ullmanor and Thayer Mumford and stuff. We need our best players out there blocking, and if they're not, it's going to be a long night. Aiden O'Connell, he's going to have to get rid of the ball quick, which is something he doesn't do well. Stacey says, "Do you find Vikings offensive, Dave?" LOL. I think you saw. So Stacey, I think what it is, I think he gets a little nervous when he sees the Vikings logo that has long braided blonde hair. It's like blonde braided hair. It's like a lady. Then they got the big handlebar mustache. It's like a lot of confusion, internal confusion, I think, for Dave with the Vikings logo. So that's very well could be what it is. I could be wrong about that, though. I don't know. I'm not questioning Dave's sexuality in any manner, because we've all been confused or tricked by, blonde dudes or whatever, that are braided hair. It's like, oh, hey, look at that. That's a pretty blonde lady. And it's like, oh my God, it's a dude. It happens to the best of us, Dave. Don't worry. No, not at all. I like the color purple. I don't know. Did you ever see that movie Purple Rain by Prince? With Prince in it. The song, Purple Rain, Purple Rain. You know that song, right? That song, Doves, what was it called? Why Doves Cry, maybe? So that was on at work the other day. This is what it sounds like when doves cry. Bah, 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 bah. Man. Yeah, you gotta love some of those Prince songs. Weird little dude, but had some big hits there. So they need to block for Aiden O'Connell. Aiden O'Connell has to get the ball out quick. We can't have these 5-step, 7-step drops. 1, 2, 3, bam. 1, 2, 3, bam. The short passing game is going to be key. We got to protect the ball. He has to protect the ball. No interceptions against the Queefs. But like I said, kind of after the first half, everything kind of just went away. So Dave is laughing out loud. And so got to protect the ball as well. 1, 2, 3 pass. You get a short passing game. That it's going to be a big it'll be a good play if they get the ball more to Michael Mayer. So when I pause like that, it's not that the screen is stuck or anything like that. It's I'm trying to think, and the gears don't quite move the way they should. And so I'm like looking for words. I'm like scrolling through my Rolodex of words here, my thesaurus in my head, and nothing's coming up. And it's like, I don't know what I'm going to say now. What am I going to say where I don't sound stupid? Well, I sound stupid anyway, because now I'm talking to myself about my head. And so yeah, that's what I think. They got to get Michael Mayer involved. Hunter Renfrow, get him involved. With the short passing game, Trey Tucker, again, I've been screaming from the mountaintops about Trey Tucker all season. He could be a big playmaker, and they don't get him the ball enough. They don't get him the ball enough. They'll get him on a reverse or end around or whatever. They'll get him the ball there, and occasionally a short pass, but it's not enough. They need to get him in more, get more passes to him. Devontae Adams, I didn't think about this until I was listening to a Raiders podcast, where it was a Raiders and a Vikings podcast together. And the Vikings, the guy that does the Vikings podcast brought up the point that when Devontae Adams was going well with the Packers, he saw a lot of Devontae Adams being a Vikings fan. When Devontae Adams was going well with the Packers, it was all pretty much through the short passing game, whether it was like bubble screens or, just like, quick ins or quick outs, stuff like that, and then making people miss and, yards after catch. So maybe, maybe that's something the Raiders should look to do more. They don't throw too many screens with Devon, at least that I notice anyway. Too many bubble screens or anything like that with Devontae Adams. Maybe they should look into doing a little bit more of that, especially against an aggressive defense that blitzes a lot. So you're going to have people rushing upfield, so that stuff might be open. Another key is force Josh Dobbs to turn the ball over. Like I said, he's turned the ball over quite frequently over the last few games. Like I said, they have back-to-back losses. Last time out, 4 interceptions to the Chicago Bears, which we know all about. Of course, we've had our peckers smacked against the Bears there with Hoyer thrown. I don't know if he had 3 or 4 interceptions. Then O'Connell came in and he threw an interception as well, but also threw a touchdown. And force him to into turnovers, and the way you do that was with pressure, disguising your coverages and stuff like that. Make them throw into tight coverage, make them throw into tight windows. Don't give all that cushion that the Raiders are so used to giving this past season. Whether it was Marcus Peters or even Jacorian Bennett would just give this huge cushion, and it wasn't good at all. And we got to watch Alex Madison. Okay, I keep messing his name up. He had the last 2 games. He's ran the ball well. 28 carries, 133 yards over the last 2 games. For the most part, besides that, he's been fairly average. He did have a couple games. I think one was against the Chargers. I don't remember who the other one was against, where he had 95 plus yards rushing, around 20 carries each game. So he does have the ability to do well in the run game. And what the Raiders do give up a lot of yards on the ground. So, but with all those enticing weapons at wide receiver, I'd see a lot more passes than I would runs. And so the return of Justin Jefferson, we need to be on point in our secondary. That's Nate Hobbs, Amik Robertson, Jack Jones, who we acquired a couple weeks ago, and Jacorian Bennett needs to step up. So I'm more looking at Nate Hobbs, Amik Robertson, and Jack Jones more so than Jacorian Bennett. I expect those 3 guys to get a lot more reps than what Bennett would. And they need to step up. Nate Hobbs has been playing well. He's a big physical type cornerback. Robertson, not so big, but he's had a decent season. He's not played terrible. It seems to come up with a big play when the Raiders really need it. He seems to come up pretty big there. And Jack Jones, I haven't seen enough of Jack Jones to know anything about him. I know that Antonio Pierce is very comfortable with Jack Jones, coaching him in high school, coaching him in college, now bringing him on board from the Patriots. So we'll see what happens there. It's not going to be an easy task, but it's doable. These guys they can do it, and Justin Jefferson is the big target. In Pennsylvania, everybody loves hunting, so he's the big buck. He's the old 10-pointer or whatever. Justin Jefferson is, but T.J. Hawkinson as well is having a superb year, a terrific year, over 800 yards receiving. So you can't turn your eye away from him. And then Jordan Addison, it's not going to be easy. And we're going to have to get pressure on Dobbs, make him get the ball out quick, force him into mistakes. And if Max Crosby isn't playing, I don't know what we're going to do. Because nobody else can get pressure. Malcolm Kuntz, every once in a while, he'll have a nice play, some pressures, but Tyree Wilson, still has not shown up. Again, rookie, I give him the benefit of the doubt, and sometimes it takes a year. Fine. We'll move on from that to the tail of the tape. Tail of the tape. So it's just, comparing, points per game, yards per game, pass yards per game, rush yards per game, stuff like that. So Minnesota, they've been scoring 21.9 points per game and giving up 20.2. They've been giving up 364 yards per game. They've been getting 364 yards per game. They've been giving up 339 yards per game, 92 rushing yards per game. They've been giving up 96 rush yards per game, and they've been giving up they've been getting 258 yards passing per game and giving up 224 yards passing per game. Then you look at the Raiders, scoring 16.8 points per game, one of the worst in the league. I think last I looked, they were 31st, but I could be wrong. Giving up 21.3 points per game. They've been getting 301 yards per game, giving up 356. 82 rush yards per game, giving up 127 rush yards per game. And passing-wise, they've been getting 201, but giving up 216 passing yards per game. So, I mean, you look at the tail of the tape, and it's all leaning towards Minnesota. Minnesota's is a favorite, like Cowboy Dave pointed out, a 3-point favorite. I was on ESPN. I think they have it something like 65-35 in favor of the Vikings. They have like a percentage wheel, like who's going to win, whatever the hell you want to call it. I don't know. And so they have it tilted towards the Vikings. So everything's coming up Minnesota, everything's coming up purple. But we'll have to. That's why they play the games. So we'll go ahead and do that. Jason Fine, Jay Feinlaw, defensive player to watch. So this week, the defensive player to watch, I'm going to go with Amik Robertson. So I'm going to imagine he's going to be matched up probably on Justin Jefferson, because I think he might be our best defensive back, cornerback anyway. So I'm imagining Amik Robertson's going to be on Justin Jefferson. So all eyes are going to be on him. And like I said, he's usually up to the task. Makes the big play every once in a while, especially when we need it. Big parts of the game. Through this season, he has a couple interceptions. He's made a big pass deflection defense. Either come up with a big pick, stuff like that, or even a big tackle occasionally. So for my defensive player to watch is going to be Amik Robertson. So we'll see how he does against that Minnesota wide receiving core. My mouth is getting all dry. We got the Olaf mug rocking out right now. Wednesday I had Batman. Got Olaf today. So the out of the box sports entertainment offensive player to watch. So I'm going to go boring with this one. I'm going to say the offensive player to watch is going to be pretty much the offensive line. I'm going to go specifically Colton Miller. With Danielle Hunter and the blitzing, it's not going to be easy. Aiden O'Connell's going to have to get the ball out quick. They're going to have to give him a little bit of time. So we'll see. If Danielle Hunter gets matched up over Colton Miller, we'll see how he does, and hopefully he plays. He should play. I feel like he's going to play. Max Crosby is the one that I'm kind of worried about. So my out of the box sports offensive player to watch is Colton Miller. That's kind of boring, I know. The only other one I was thinking was going to be Michael Mayer. I feel like there's opportunity for him to have a big game. With all the blitzing and stuff like that that the Vikings do, that does leave lanes open. And what better weapon to have than have a big tight end that catches the ball well, which is Michael Mayer. He's a big target, a security blanket. So there is a chance they get the ball out to him quick. If Aiden O'Connell is in a lot of trouble. So let's go offensive line. Let's go Colton Miller / Michael Mayer. That's what I'll do. It's my show, and that's what I'm going to do. My nose is all stuffy. Dave says, I'll say the Raiders 28, Vikings, a.k.a. the purple team, 23, final score. So real quick, Dave, the Raiders have only scored more than 20 points offensively once this season. That was when they put 30 up on the Giants. As a team, they've done it twice, but the first time was due to a safety. It gave them 21 I think 21 points. I think the Raiders had 19. They got the safety, put them at 21. But offensively, they've only scored 20 points or more one time this season. So just give you a heads up on that one with your score prediction. But they did have the bye week. We'll see what this coaching staff does. A whole bunch of rookie coaches. So we'll see what kind of adjustments they've made. It's going to be a lot of fun to see, actually. Hey, there he is, Adam Glass. Starting to worry about you, Adam. What's up, Adam? How you doing? Thanks for checking the show out. Sorry, so moving on. Whoop. Real quick. So looking at the Vikings schedule for this past season, I'm going to go over their wins and losses. They lost their first game in week 1, 20-17 to Tampa Bay. They lost to Philly, 34-28. They lost to the Chargers, 28-24. They beat Carolina, 21-13. They lost to the Chiefs, 27-20. Beat the Bears, 19-13. Beat the 49ers, 22-17. Beat Green Bay, 24-10. Beat Atlanta, 31-28. Beat New Orleans, 27-19. Then they lost to Denver, 21-20. And they lost to Chicago 12-10. So, the nice 5-game win streak there, and then they lose 2 in a row, kind of put them at 6-6. Still in okay position playoff wise. I think their division, who they got? Green Bay, Chicago, and Detroit. I think they might be 2 games behind Detroit, 1 or 2 games behind Detroit. So Detroit's not running away with that division, but Detroit is a pretty good team. Hey, what's up, Foster Covers? I haven't heard from you in a couple of weeks. How you doing, buddy? I had a pretty good turkey day. Thanksgiving's easily my favorite holiday because you get the food and you get football and family and stuff like that. So we did the old we ate early, and then actually Hershey Park was open. So we went to Hershey Park again. We've been there, I think 10,000 times this fall, and so make it 10,001. But it was a good day. It was a lot of fun. Adam says, "What Brian is the wrestling show?" So what Brian? I think he's asking what time is the wrestling show on. The wrestling show is on tomorrow night at 10 p.m. Adam, I work tonight, so we will be on tomorrow night at 10 p.m. Myself and Cowboy Dave. The Bears are going to take out the Lions. The Bears are playing decent. The Bears, defensively anyway, they've been playing pretty decent recently. So, all right, I'm glad that you're feeling better. The flu sucks. I know it's going around. I see it on Good Morning America. They're always talking about the flu and this disease, that disease, white lung or whatever it is for little kids, and it's always something trying to kill us. Yeah, it was a pretty good day. It was a little bit chilly at the park, but the kids like going there, and we got season passes, and might as well use it up. Get there as much as possible. Cowboy Dave says Lions are 9-3. All right, so that also that puts Minnesota 3 games back, and I'm not sure what Green Bay's record is, but I think Green Bay's right there as well. Now they've been playing much better recently. Adam wants to know why I work tonight. I work tonight to make money. It's that time of year where taxes are due. Christmas is shopping and all that stuff. Everything costs money. Everything costs a lot of money now. It's insane to see how much the cost of everything has gone up. It's just it's insane. It's frustrating, and it's not easy. Okay, so they're tied 6-6. So it's a nice race there. They're both within the wild card in the wild card race. So both like I said, both with Cowboy Dave saying the Lions are at 9-3. it puts them back in a decent hole behind the Lions, but Lions, they look great, and then sometimes they just don't look very good at all. They look lion-like, like the old Detroit Lions occasionally. Everything is double or triple hits. Yeah, I imagine in the big cities, it's just it's even worse. I couldn't imagine. So my prediction for this game, I actually wrote it down back at the beginning of the season. And like I said, a lot of things have changed. I have the Raiders winning 24-10. And that's why I wrote down the beginning of the season. So we'll stick with that. But 24-10 sounds kind of iffy. All right. So moving on. I'm going to do my sponsor reads before I hit the LA Kings. That's what I got that's what I got for the Raiders. I'll keep asking questions or whatever about your teams, about whatever you want to talk about, and I'll put them up there and we'll go from there. So let me get that banner off of there. There we go. Jason Feinlaw, a.k.a. Big Al. You can reach Big Al at 1-800-HURT-123. That's 1-800-HURT-123. Big Al specializes in motor vehicle accidents, slip and falls, workman's comp, and personal injury claims. Jason Fine has 3 office locations conveniently located throughout Pennsylvania and New Jersey. In Cherry Hill, New Jersey, 3 Greensward Lane, Cherry Hill. The number there is 856-209-5258, and in the Steel City of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. The offices are located at 500 Grant Street, Suite 2900. The phone number there is 412-365-8151. And then in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the land of many cheesesteaks, the offices are located at 1628 JFK Boulevard, Suite 2120. The phone number there is 267-888-2980. Jason Fine. And then hop on over to monkeycoltcoffee.com and get yourself some sweet-ass coffee. They got bourbon chocolate chip-infused coffee, toasted coconut rum, Sumatra blend medium roast coffee in whole bean or ground. The newest, one of their newer blends, organic blend, Perula, Florida. I don't know if they have that whole bean and ground. I'm not sure. Yeah, it says right there on the box, whole or ground. So for you beaners out there who like to grind your own beans, there you go. They also just did release a newer flavor, a honey agave flavor. We'll have to get that on the promo here. Head on over to the swag shop, get yourself a t-shirt, mug, tumbler cup, the cold brew pitcher, K-cup adapters, and don't forget your Paradise rum cake. Very good cake. At monkeycoltcoffee.com. And at checkout, use that promo code OOTB Sports for 10% off. The promo code, once again, is OOTB Sports for 10% off. Christmas is right around the corner. I think this coffee is really, really good. It really is really, really good. So it'd make a great Christmas present. Even the logo is pretty sweet. I like the monkey drinking the coffee and the robe. His name is Roderick. He's on all over their swag. So you get your best gal a coffee mug with Roderick on it, or get her some him or her some coffee. They'll appreciate it. They will. I'm telling you. All right. Moving on to the little Kings talk. Let me hit the old comments here real quick. Cowboy Des says, my family will be hitting Hershey Park New Year's Day. I wouldn't doubt if we would be there as well, Dave. So if you're going, let me know, and I'll let you know if I'm going. But we go a lot. I can't put it this way. I don't have enough fingers right here to tell you how many times we've gone since we got these season passes back in, I think, September. We've gone a lot. Foster Covers says, I got Raiders winning 27-24. Attaboy. Eileen says, at some point, do we get your top 10 Christmas movies? I could do that in the back cave. I've been doing top 10 lists in the back cave. So the top 10 list I had for the Batcave for Wednesday, I didn't get a chance to read. And it was it was Judd Apatow's birthday. So I was doing the top 10 Judd Apatow movies. But I didn't get to it. So I was going to save that for next Wednesday, but I can I guess Christmas would be before. So I could do the top 10 Christmas movies. My top 10 Christmas movies next week. Cuz I'm going to do the Batcave next week again because I only had 15 minutes on this past Wednesday before I had to get off and deal with some stuff. So I can do that on the Batcave, Eileen. So make sure you check out Wednesday. I'll do my top 10 Christmas movies. And when I say Christmas movies, Eileen, like this was a discussion. I've done this before. I've done this before on a past show, where I did my top 10 Christmas movies. And stuff always changes because I forget what my favorite Christmas movies are. And sometimes there's movies that I'm like, I seen recently that's a Christmas themed movie that I like more than any other one. So it's always changing. It's always revolving. And but I had Batman Returns in my list. And Batman, in my opinion, Batman Returns is a Christmas movie because it revolves around Christmas. There's a Christmas tree. There are Christmas presents. There's a snowflake princess, for crying out loud. I think that's what I think she's a snowflake princess or some sort of like Christmas pageant princess or whatever. So for me, that is a Christmas movie. It's around the Christmas holiday. There's Christmas crap there. It's a Christmas movie. So you don't need Santa to have Christmas. Even though if I looked in that movie, I'm sure I could find Santa. So I consider Batman Returns. That's the one with Penguin and Catwoman, Michael Keaton's second Batman movie. I consider that a Christmas movie. Foster covers as Christmas Story, got to be on the list. This is my personal. It would be my personal top 10 list. I'm not going to say if Christmas Story would be on it. It would be a surprise. A Christmas Story is in your top 5. Do you know what your top 5 is, Foster? If you know what your top 5 is, ring them off on here. I'll shout them out. So we know that the Christmas Story is going to be there. All right. So moving on with the Kings. All right. So looking back, I think it was Saturday or Sunday? I don't know. It feels like a long time ago, but it's not really that long ago. The Kings played the Avalanche. I think that was in LA. Yeah, it was in LA. So it was a huge game. The Avs, one of the better teams out west, and so it was a nice measuring stick. The Avs were playing back-to-back games, but still, it's a nice measuring stick for the Kings. The Kings having a terrific season so far. About a quarter way through the season, it's been really, really good. It's been. I expected the Kings to be good. I didn't expect them to be this good. And then playing teams like Colorado, it's kind of nice to see where they actually are. So they're able to beat Colorado 4-1. They owned them that whole game. Most of the game, I should say. Colorado scored first. I don't know how early it was in the first period, but Colorado was able to control the tempo throughout most of the first period and into the second a little bit. But the Kings just took over. The Kings absolutely took over. They ground them down. They just constant pressure. Really wore the Avalanche down. They ended up outshooting the Avalanche. What is it? 23-5 in the third period. And it felt worse than that. And I was watching that game, and I was like, wow, that's like they were all over Colorado in that game. So a huge win for the Kings, 4-1. Anze Kopitar, another big point in that. Anze Kopitar passes Marcel Dion on the all-time Kings franchise record list for assists. The number was 757. So congratulations to Anze Kopitar, the Kings captain. And but yeah, it was everybody played really well in that game. What was it? I don't have it written down. Do I? No. Cam Talbot played great again. In net, I think he only faced 20 shots or 21 shots and had 20 saves, something like that. It wasn't an abundance of shots that he faced, But there were some quality shots that he did face that he stopped. So, but the Kings just, they really wore Colorado down. I got a comment here. He does not have his his Christmas top 5 Christmas movies. Think about that though, Foster. And next time you're on, toss them on here. Because I'll be on a couple more times before Christmas does roll around. And even if you can't check into my Mets show, the Bat Cave on Wednesday at 10 a.m. Maybe you can check back into this one next Friday, 10 a.m. Or even, I don't know how late you're up, but tomorrow night we have the Atomic Drop podcast talking WWE wrestling at 10 p.m. So anyway, nice win for the Kings there. History made with was Anze Kopitar. So we move on to the Blue Jackets. At that point, we go to Columbus. The Kings are 9-0-0 on the road. And if they beat the Blue Jackets in Columbus, they go to 10-0-0 on the road to start the season, and that would tie in an NHL record. So Columbus Blue Jackets, not one of the better teams in the league. And the Kings come out, and Columbus absolutely owns them for the first 2 periods, owns the Kings. It was the worst I've seen the Kings play all season. It was just it was awful. It's like I was wide. I said to my daughter, I said, I can't believe they're playing like this right now, especially with the chance to I don't want to say make history, but to tie a record. And it was awful. The Blue Jackets, the Kings turning the puck over, not clearing the zone very well, not back checking. It was rough to watch, through the first 2 periods. You come into the third period, I think it was 53 seconds in, I think it was, and I think it was Philip Denault. I think it was Denault. I think it was Philly Denault scored a goal, and then it was a couple minutes later. I think it was a couple minutes later. Was it Kaliev scored, and then Denault scored again. They ended up tied 3-3. They go into overtime, and 33 seconds in overtime, Drew Doughty hits the game winner. And I'll tell you what, I love the NHL's overtime. It's 3 versus 3, and it's just you get your 3 best players out there, or at least 2 of the 3. You have a really good defenseman. That's what the Kings had Kempe, Kopitar, and Doughty out there, and it was just a thing of beauty to watch. How they set it up. Just I don't even know how to describe it. It's like a cyclone. Just like that, like spinning, like the pass and dropping puck, pass and dropping puck, pass and dropping puck. And all of a sudden it's open, and Doughty puts it in the net, and the Kings go home with the win. They tie the NHL record for most road wins to start a season off without losing. So going over it real quick, Blue Jackets were up 3-0 going into the third, and the Kings just took over. Denault had 2 goals. Kaliev had a goal. Arthur Kaliev, Drew Doughty had the game-winning goal. Vladislav Gavrikov had 2 assists. Matt Roy had an assist. Trevor Moore had an assist. Kopitar an assist. Kempe and Fiala each had an assist, and as well as Jared Anderson Dolan. Phoenix Copley, not his best game, but when he came up big in some spots. He came up really, really big. 26 saves out of 29 shots. He's been playing much better. Phoenix Copley really, really stunk it up in the beginning of the season, but he's been playing much, much better his last few starts. Even that game there, like I said, 26 out of 29 saves, but he really came up really, really big. Foster says, abso-freaking-lutely, try for next Friday. There we go. So everybody watching right now, tune in next Friday. Have your top 10 Christmas movies on, and you know what? I'll put my top 10 Christmas movies on for next Friday for the Kings, for the Silver and Black Lair. I'll stick with my original top 10 list for the Batcave. I'll do my top 10 Christmas movies next Friday. That's the plan. That's what we're going to do. All right. So moving on from there, move on to last night. The Kings shut out the Montreal Canadiens, the Habs, to break the road record. So they set in a new NHL record, starting the season off 11-0-0, first 11 road games. And they I don't want to say they controlled the game from the start, because early on, watching that game, because I think it started at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But anyway, early on, Montreal had a lot of good looks at the net, and they just missed. I like they had a couple times where Cam Talbot was either out of position or they made a beautiful pass across ice, and they had wide open nets, and either they hit the post or just missed the net completely. And so the Kings dodged quite a few bullets early on, and then they kind of all right, relax, reel it in, and they started playing Kings hockey and just took over from there. So I know the shots going into the third period were really even, like 22-21, but the Kings ended up just pulling away in the shots category, and really doing a hell of a job. Cam Talbot early on, some shots that he faced a lot of pressure early on, and Montreal missed some wide open chances. But he settled down as well and made some nice saves. He didn't have anything too crazy after the Kings settled into the game. Didn't have any crazy stops. Didn't need to make any crazy stops, but was solid between the pipes. So they held Montreal to 0-3 on the power play. The Kings were 1-1 in the power play. Quentin Byfield, 3 points, 2 goals, 1 assist. He also had 2 goals against Colorado. So that's noteworthy for Quentin Byfield. Drew Doughty had 1 goal and an assist. Anze Kopitar 3 assists, and it was just a great win for the Kings. Nice to get that NHL record for the road victories. Blake Lizotte back in the lineup, so that was good to see as well. Didn't really follow him to see how he was playing in the game. But just seeing him on the ice was good to see. The Kings outshot the Canadiens 16-4 in the third period. The Kings just I don't want to say they wore them out, but as soon as the Kings were able to settle into their game, especially in the second period, you could tell that they took control and they slowly just squeezed the life out of Montreal, and they didn't have a chance. The first period, if they would have got a couple of those goals, then we might have been talking about a different story. But that's what happens. You got to make the play. They didn't make the play. They let the Kings hang around. The Kings settled down, and that was it. It was all over from there. What else do I got for that? That's pretty much it. Pretty much it there. Fiala had 2 assists. Kempe had an assist. Trevor Moore had a goal. And Cam Talbot, 24 stops on 24 shots. So, another shutout for Cam Talbot, his second of the season. He's been such a revelation for the Kings, such a great pickup in the offseason. I think he's like 37, 38 years old. So he's on the twilight of his career. And they weren't expecting a whole lot of it. They were expecting him to be better than what they had last season with Phoenix Copley and Jonas Korpisalo. Even though Copley played well last year, won a lot of games for the Kings, kept the Kings, in a lot of games last season. The Kings had a really good season last year, out in the first round of the playoffs. But if they would have kept Cal Peterson and Jonathan Quick in between the pipes last season, I don't know if the Kings even wouldn't even make the playoffs. They were scoring a lot of goals, but they were also giving up a lot of goals. And as soon as Phoenix Copley started playing, he started playing well enough where the Kings were able to put up enough goals and win games. They were winning games like 4-2, 5-3, 5-2, 4-1, stuff like that. So he was doing a good enough job to get a bunch of wins. And so they definitely needed an upgrade at goal. Jonas Korpisalo, after they made the trade for him from Columbus, played well last year, but you didn't feel like he could be a true number one goalie. You knew Phoenix Copley wasn't going to be a true number one goalie either. But I don't think the Kings were sure how much of an upgrade Cam Talbot was going to be over Phoenix Copley, and he's been absolutely lights out so far this season. Absolutely lights out. Probably the top goalie in the league right now, or at least he's up there. He and Aiden Hill are kind of really neck and neck with that. Cam Talbot right now has the top goals against average at 1.84. Second in save percentage at 0.939 or 0.935, and it's tied for second in shutouts with 2. So, one of the top goalies in the league. It's been awesome to see. It's been awesome to watch. It's good when you have a good goalie. All those years, Jonathan Quick, playing great for the Kings, winning 2 Stanley Cups. He's playing great for the New York Rangers right now. So, when he does get in, when he does fill in, I guess he's their number 2 behind Shesterkin. We'll see him in a couple days. So that's what the Kings have coming up. Real quick, another note. Anze Kopitar and I want to say Kevin Fiala, or is it Adrian Kempe? I think it's Fiala. Have points in, I think, 12 consecutive games now. I think it's the first set of teammates to do that in so many years. I should have wrote it down. I don't remember exactly what it was. That's bad on my part. I apologize. Oh, where do I have it? Okay. So moving on. So I'm doing something different this with the hockey part of it. So if you've seen the Silver and Black Lair before, usually after a Raiders game, I have the Monkey Cold Coffee player of the game. Since there was no game, I'm going to start doing for hockey the 3 stars of the week. So if you watch a hockey game, if anybody's familiar with hockey, at the end of the games, they'll do the 3 stars of the game. You'll have your 3rd star, 2nd star, and your 1st star of the game. So what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to do the 3 stars of the week. Since we didn't have a Monkey Cold Coffee player of the game for the Raiders, I figured we'll do it the Monkey Cold Coffee 3 stars of the week. So my 3rd star of the week, Anze Kopitar, 5 points, all assists this past week. Those 3 games between the Avalanche, the Blue Jackets, and Canadiens. And also breaking that assist record, the franchise record for assists. So he's my 3rd star of the week. You can't go wrong with the captain. Points in 12 straight games, like I said. He's been playing awesome. He's on pace for a career record. Was it goals? I think goals. I could be wrong on that now. I believe he's on pace to break his career mark in goals. My 2nd star of the week, Drew Doughty, with the game winner against the Blue Jackets. And I think he scored goals in 3 straight games now. So, yeah, the game winner against the Blue Jackets in overtime. He had the empty netter against Colorado, and he had a goal last night against Montreal. So he's my 2nd star of the week with 4 points, 3 goals, and 1 assist. And my 1st star of the week, Quentin Byfield, 4 goals, 1 assist. He had 2 goals against against Colorado, and just missed a hat trick on the empty net a couple times. And he had 2 goals last night against the Montreal Canadiens. I was going to say Blue Jackets, but anyway. But he's been playing awesome this season, absolutely awesome. He got so much guff last year, so much criticism last season from Kings fans, and he's been playing awesome so far this season, creating plays with his size and speed, and now he's starting to make a presence in front of the net. He's had a couple goals that he's deflected in, and then we've seen against the Canadiens, his 1 goal, he came down, swooped, low shouldered it, swooped down in front of the net, and was able to put it under the Canadiens goalie's pad. This is just an absolute beautiful, beautiful play by Quentin Byfield. So he's my 1st star of the week. Just playing awesome, playing really awesome. Hopefully he can keep this up for the rest of the season. He could be something special then. All right. So moving on from that, for my stars of the week. Coming up next for the Kings, a couple more tough road games. They're playing at the New York Islanders, at the Rangers, and they come back home against the Jets. The Islanders 11-7-7 with 29 points. The Rangers 18-5-1 with 37 points. I think they're the number one and number two team out in the East. Then they come home for the Jets, who are in the playoff race as well. I mean, only a quarter of the way through the season, but still. The Jets are 15-8-2 with 32 points. So, no easy task here. So it's going to be interesting. The Kings, like I said, breaking the NHL record for most road wins to start a season, and without losing, I should say. It's most road wins without losing to start a season. And now they get to go to New York and play the Islanders and Rangers. I wouldn't be surprised if they lost one of those two games. Hopefully not both, but I wouldn't be surprised if they lost one of the two. And I'm leaning more towards the Rangers. That's just a really, really good team. So that's what we got coming up next, and that's what I'll be talking about next week on the Silver and Black Lair when I talk about the Kings. Moving on to the standings here real quick. In the Pacific Division, you have the Vegas Golden Knights still leading the Pacific Division, 17-5-5 with 39 points. The Kings, 16-4-3 with 35 points. They're now tied for seconds, but they have 4 games in hand against the Canucks. So they have the tiebreaker right now. The Canucks are 17-9-1, 35 points, and the Calgary Flames at 11-12-3 with 25 points. Overall in the West, you have the Golden Knights at 1, 39 points. The Kings 2, 35 points. Vancouver right there, 35 points. Then you have Colorado, 16-8-2 with 34 points. Dallas, 15-7-3, 33 points. Winnipeg Jets, 15-8-2, 32 points. The Coyotes, or Coyotes, depending on where you're from, 13-10-2, 28 points. And Nashville Predators, 14-12 with 28 points. So those are your standings. And now we'll go through the stats. Team stats here real quick. The Kings are 5th for goals for with 89 goals. They're first with goals against, only giving up 51 goals. They're first in goals for per game with 3.87. They're first in goals against per game as well. You're going to win a lot of games if you're leading those categories. 2.22. They're 17th in the power play percentage at 20.3, which is huge. Last season, they were near the top of the league. I think they finished 3rd or 4th. This season, being in the middle of the pack or almost bottom half, is not good. It's not good at all. But with that being said, they're second in the penalty kill at 88.9%. And that's where they really, really struggled last season. When they played Edmonton in the first round of playoffs last year, I think Edmonton had I don't know. They had a huge success rate against the Kings. I think the Kings were penalty kills at like a 50%. It was really, really bad. They worked all offseason to kind of correct that. Excuse me. And right now it's been paying off in leaps and bounds over the last, I think, 7 games. The Kings have killed 35 out of 38, I think it is. So it's, that's awesome. Great work by the Kings penalty kill. And, special teams are huge. If they can get that power play, better, they've been working on it a lot from everything I've been hearing, through other podcasts. The Kings have been working on their power play a lot over the last few weeks, and it hasn't improved yet, but once it starts clicking, watch out, with the penalty kill and the power play working well, that's a good thing. And they're also 4th in shots per game at 33.4. So now looking at individual stats, I'll hit them up real quick. There's a tie for points between Anze Kopitar and Adrian Kempe. Kopitar has 10 goals, 14 assists, and 24 points. Kempe, 8 goals, 16 assists, and 24 points. Kevin Fiala, 6 goals, 17 assists, and 23 points. He leads the team in assists. Trevor Moore, 13 goals, 9 assists, 22 points. Trevor Moore leads the team in goals. I never thought I'd say that, but yes, Trevor Moore leads the team in goals. Awesome. Fantastic. The wealth is spread out so much throughout this team. It's absolutely amazing. Quentin Byfield, 8 goals, 13 assists, 21 points. Philippe Denault, six goals, 9 assists, 15 points. Drew Doughty, 7 goals, 7 assists, 14 points. Arthur Kaliev, 6 goals, 6 assists, 12 points. And Pierre-Luc Dubois, 5 goals, 6 assists, 11 points. And so Dubois is the big offseason acquisition. We traded a couple players away for Pierre-Luc Dubois. And he hasn't quite played up to snuff yet. But I'd give it time. A new team, new city, new arena, all this stuff, a whole bunch of changes. It's going to take time, I think. So, yeah, I'd be more worried if like halfway through the season or 3/4 of the way through the season he's still playing, not up to what expectations are. I mean, when I was looking at all the whole team stat wise, he's the only player on the team right now with a minus. The plus minus. The plus minus is your if you're on the ice when your team scores, you get a plus. If you're on ice when the other team scores, you get a minus. He's the only one right now with a minus. He's at a -2. Everybody else is either at 0 or a plus. So I mean that's for me that screams out loud. I don't know what I'm trying to say there, but that speaks volumes. That's what I'm trying to say. That speaks volumes right there. So hopefully he wakes up a little bit and starts contributing a little bit more offensively. And he's already pushed down to the third line. I don't want to say pushed down. They split. They started the season off with he and Kevin Fiala on the second line, and they decided to mix it up a little bit. And they put Dubois on the third line now with Grundstrom. With Grundstrom and Laferriere, the rookie Laferriere, and they moved Philippe Denault up to the second line with Kevin Fiala, and Trevor Moore. And that really, it seems like the second line has really opened up since they've done that. Where the third line has kind of, I don't want to say it's been lessened, but it's not playing as good as it was before when Philippe Denault was down, but now the second line is playing better than it was before. So I don't know. They take the good with the bad when you start jumbling lines around. And right now the Kings' top line is just outstanding. Their second line is very good. Third line's okay. The fourth line's been playing pretty decent. So, all right. So that's all I have. A lot of talking. My nose is all stuffy, so I'm sniffling now. Take a sip out of Olaf, moisten my mouth here so I can finish this off. But that's all I have for today. If there's any more comments, let's hear them before I head out. I'm going to drag this on in case there is any more comments. Nothing else, huh? No, nothing. All right. Well, like I said, check out all of our shows here on Out of the Box Sports. Let's see if we have a show screen here or not. I don't know. No, I don't see one. I've got a comment here. Foster Cover, stay safe, everyone. You too, brother. Thanks for checking the show out. Thanks for commenting. Really appreciate it. I'll talk to you next Friday, Fosters. I'll be looking forward to that Christmas movie list. I think says, well, Mean, if you want to keep entertaining me for a while I work, be my guest. You got to get work done, Eileen. I can't be entertaining you while you're working. You're going to be distracted. You're going to mess stuff up, and that'll be it. Like, oh, what happened? Well, I was watching, the Silver and Black Lair, and a, goofy redheaded guy. Well, it's not red; it's gray now. But I'm getting old. But you can't blame it on me. And Foster's thinks that's funny. But I am glad I can entertain you at work, Eileen. I appreciate all the time that you put in and commenting on all of our shows, the Out of the Box Sports, but especially mine. So I appreciate that very much. And I appreciate everybody that checked the show out, that didn't comment, and especially the ones that did comment to help me along here and keep me from stuttering and saying and too much. I did say it, I'm trying it in my head. I'm saying don't say and then I say it, or I go like this. I go trying to think, because I don't want to say or because then Adam Glenn's gonna fire me. All right, so be sure to check me out tomorrow night, 10 p.m. on the Atomic Drop podcast. Myself and Cowboy Dave talking WWE wrestling. Next Wednesday, 10 a.m., the Bat Cave talking New York Mets baseball. Hopefully, we're talking Yoshinobu Yamamoto as a Met, but we'll see what happens. And next Friday, I'll be back with the Silver and Black Lair, talking Raiders and Kings, Raiders football, Kings hockey. Pigskin to puck, baby. So I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to go to bed because I got to work tonight. And find there's the end thing. Thank you, everybody. And all I got to say is, this is what it sounds like when doves cry. See you later.